Welcome back. Now that we have covered Git and GitHub and we have seen a demo of how version control fits into your workflow, it's time to focus on another crucial part of modern development, package management and project setup. This part of our session will help you understand how tools like NPM, the Node Package Manager, simplify working with third-party code and streamline the setup of your JavaScript projects. To begin with, let's clarify the objective of this session. By the end of this recording, you will know what NPM is and how it helps you manage packages in your projects. You'll understand what package.json is and why it plays a critical role in organizing your project. I will also make sure you are familiar with some of the most common NPM commands, which will help you confidently set up and manage a Node.js project from scratch. Let's start with the one of the most fundamental question, what is NPM? NPM stands for Node Package Manager, and as the name suggests, it is a tool used to manage packages or libraries in JavaScript projects. The good news is that NPM comes pre-installed with Node.js. If you have Node.js on your system, you already have access to NPM. NPM allows you to easily install, update, and manage packages. These packages are reusable piece of code. Think of utilities, frameworks, or tools that can help you avoid reinventing the wheel. NPM supports two types of installations. The first is a local installation, which adds the package specifically to your project folder. This is the most common approach as it keeps the dependencies scoped to a single project. The second is a global installation, which makes a package available across your entire system for use in any project. For example, if you run the command npm install Lodash, npm will fetch the Lodash package from its public registry and add it to your project so that you can use or start using it immediately. Now that you understand what npm does, let's look at the file that keeps your project organized, package.json. The package.json file sits at the root of any Node.js project and acts as the metadata file for your project. It contains critical information such as your project's name, its version, the author's detail, and most importantly, a list of your project's dependencies. Dependencies are the packages your application needs in order to run properly. Alongside these, you will also see something called as dev dependencies. These are packages you only need during the development phase. Things like testing tools, linters, or bundlers that help you build or maintain your application but aren't necessary when your application is running in production. Within package.json, you will always find scripts. Scripts are very powerful feature that allow you to automate common tasks such as starting your application, running tests, or building your project for deployment. As you install or remove packages, npm automatically updates your package.json file to reflect these changes, keeping everything up to date and organized. To deep dive a little deeper, let's clarify the difference between dependencies and dev dependencies. Dependencies are those packages your application actively uses when it's running. For example, if you are building a web app and you're using a library like React, that's a runtime dependency. On the other hand, dev dependencies are only used during the development process. They help with tasks like code formatting, linting, unit testing, or bundling your application. When you install a package using npm install, by default it goes into dependencies. If you want something to be marked as a development tool, you add the save dev flag and npm will place it in the dev dependencies within your package.json. Next, let's get familiar with some of the most common npm commands you will be using regularly. To start a new project, you use npm init. This command walks you through a step-by-step setup of your project or package.json file, asking for details like project name, version, description, and entry point. If you want to skip all of these steps and quickly create a package.json file with the default settings, you can use npm init-y. When you need to bring a new library into your project, you will use npm install followed by the package name. This downloads the package and updates your package.json accordingly. Conversely, if you want to remove a package you no longer need, you can run npm uninstall with the package name. To execute scripts that you have defined in your package.json file, for example, to start your development server or to run tests, you will use npm run followed by the name of the script. There are also a couple of bonus commands that are quite useful. Running npm list shows all the packages currently installed in your project, giving you a snapshot of your project's dependencies. If you want to check which of your packages are outdated, you can run npm outdated, which lists packages that have newer versions available. Now, why is npm such an essential tool for developers today? First, npm makes managing packages and dependencies incredibly straightforward. You no longer have to manually download libraries or worry about where to store them. Everything is tracked and documented automatically in your package.json file. This tool handles complex dependency trees for you so that you don't have to manually manage subdependencies of subdependencies. npm figures it all out. Additionally, npm opens up access to a public registry full of thousands of reusable packages maintained by the developers across the world. This enables you to leverage the work of others, spreading up your own development process and allows you to share your own packages with the wider community through npm publish. npm also plays a critical role in maintaining version control and consistency across teams and environments. The package log.json file logs down the exact version of packages installed in your project. This ensures that whether it's you, a teammate, or a continuous integration pipeline running your project, everyone is working with the exact same versions of the dependencies. This consistency is a key to avoiding the infamous work on my machine problems that can plague collaborative projects. Beyond that, NPM enables modern development practices by encouraging modular, maintainable code bases. If you can break large applications into smaller, manageable components, it also supports a wide range of tooling from bundlers and linters to test runners, which help automate and streamline your development workflow. Scripts defined within the package.json, like npm run build or npm run test, make it easy to automate repetitive tasks, further improving your productivity. In this demonstration, I will tell you how to install Node, create a Node project, and manage its packages. So for that, you first need to install Node. Node can be installed from its official website, where you can go and say, right, https nodejs.org. Once you go to this website, you should be able to see this interface. When you go to download, it will tell you or suggest you various ways to download based on your operating system. In this case, I'm using a Windows system and hence I'll click on Windows installer, which is going to be a .msi file. Once this file is downloaded, it is going to download a .exe file, which can be double clicked, and then few steps can be followed to install the Node.js. Once the Node.js is installed, we can go ahead and make some code. For that, I'll be going to my system and create a folder called demos. In this folder, I'll be writing up or creating up a Node project and setting it up. So for doing that, what I'll do is open VS Code. To open VS Code, I will select on the selection tab and hit the CMD. Once the command prompt opens, I will write code space dot to open VS Code in the same folder. Once the VS Code opens, what you can do is create a new folder where you will be naming the project. So here, you can just name it as demo node app. Once you're done with this, you can just open a terminal and navigate to this folder. To navigate to this folder, you can write cd and just hit tab to get the name of the folder. Once you enter the folder, you can verify whether the node is installed in the folder or not. To do that, you can simply write node space hyphen v. It will show you the version of node that is downloaded. At the same time, once the node is downloaded, you will also get a package manager of node, which is called as npm. To check what version of npm is downloaded, you can try the same thing like npm space hyphen v. It will give you the version of the npm or the node package manager that is downloaded and also tell you that it is downloaded. So you can verify that it is downloaded here. Once you're done with all these things, you can now create or set up your project. To create a project, you can just write npm space init and hit enter. Yeah. It will give you some important information regarding the node and some steps to make sure that the node is working fine. But what you need to focus on is the package name. You can see that it has by default taken the demo node app package name or that we have given to the directory. We will keep it same. So we'll just hit enter. We'll keep the version as it is. So we'll hit enter. We don't need to put any description as of now. So we'll again hit enter. We do not have a Git repository as of now, so we can put enter again. Keywords, again, we do not have anything, so we can hit enter. License, we'll leave it as it is. Type commands, we'll leave as it is. And then finally, it will give you a JSON. It will give you a JSON that will give you all the values that you have put in, and there are some default values to it. If you are okay with this, you can just hit YES and hit enter. Once everything is set okay, you can see that a package.json file is created. If I open this package.json file, it will have all the settings that you have done while creating the application. Now, what we are going to need is this entry point, which is going to be index.js. So what we are going to do is here in the demo node application, we are going to create a file called index.js. This is going to be our demo file, which will set up all the node, which will have all the script related to the application. Now we will see how to install a new package when we are using Node.js. When you go to in the future applications, when you go into the future weeks of this course, you will see that we'll be very often using Axios, will be very often using Express. So what we are going to do is download and install Axios and Express in this Node application. So for that, what we are going to do is go into terminal and open a new terminal. Since our project is created within this demo node app, we will redirect to that page or that directory. So we'll write cd demo, hit tab and hit enter. So now we are in the directory where our application is loaded. This is the place where I want to install some packages of the node. So the first package that I'm going to install is Axios. So I can write npm install Axios. When you hit enter, it will start installing. It will gather the resources from the net and then install. What you can observe is you will see that there is a node modules created along with this. Let me also try this again for Express. Later in the course, we will get into details of what Axios does and what Express does. But for now, you just need to understand that these are some packages that we are going to need for the project. Now, let us go to package.json and see if there are any changes. So now you will see that there are two things that is added up. One is the scripts attribute, and the second thing is the dependency attribute. The scripts attribute will note all the running scripts, testing scripts, and building scripts. We will come to this later. The second thing that you need to note is the dependencies. So you can see that when I installed Axios and Express, it will start maintaining the versions and the name of the packages that were installed. These packages are basically the dependencies of this application. Hence, they come under the dependencies tab of package.json. With the install of every new package, this package.json is going to get updated with the dependency attribute getting updated and storing the new version and the added package. Now, now that my application is running, now that my application is set up, what I can do is just test if it is working fine. What I will do is just write a simple JavaScript code here. For example, console.log. And here I'll mention this is my first node app. Now this is saved. How do I run this application? For that, I need to go to the place where my index.js is and then write node space index.js. So you can see that the index.js app or index.js file has run and it has logged everything on the console. So the terminal in this case is going to be the console for our application. Just to give you a demonstration of what simply Axios does, we are going to make a use of an Axios request. This is going to make a request to the same JSON API which we used in the demonstration in the last video. So what I've done here is I've imported Axios. This is how you import Axios in Node. And then I've made a get request with the Axios. What Axios does is it will make a request to a URL with the following HTTP method. This is the way to do that. We will go into details of Axios in the later weeks, but for now, you need to understand that at this point, we are just making a fetch request or we are just making a request to this URL called JSON placeholder type code, and we are making it a get request. Let me just save this and make a run and see what it shows. How do I run this application or how do I run this folder? I simply write node space index.js. So now you can see that it has fetched the information from the net, or it has fetched the information from this API. This is how we are going to create, install multiple packages and make them use in our application. I hope this part is clear. Now we will get back to our slides. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to summarize what we have got. NPM is a critical tool in modern JavaScript development. It helps you manage packages and dependencies efficiently. The package.json file keeps your project organized and clearly defines what your project needs to run and develop effectively. Common commands like init, install, uninstall, and run form the foundation of working with NPM. Finally, NPM fosters consistency, collaboration, and modular design, making it an essential part of any developer's toolkit. With that, we will end this session. Thank you for joining me in this session. In the next part of our journey, we will build on this foundation as we look at even more tools and practices that help you work smarter and more effectively as a modern developer. Thank you very much.